Ladies and gentlemen, let me help me welcome you again to online open house. Is Toastmasters and what Toastmasters can do for you in the online world. My name is Lukas Liebich. I'm the district director of District 110. And in the meeting today, we're going to demonstrate what a typical Toastmaster meeting online looks like, so that for those of you who are Toastmasters curious, in other words, not Toastmasters yet, you can create yourself an opinion about whether this is something that could help you advance your presentation and communication skills online. And for those of you who already are Toastmaster members, but you're curious how to conduct an open house in your own clubs, we, as a whole team, we hope this meeting might be an inspiration for you. Let me remind you again that we are recording this meeting, and also we are streaming this meeting Facebook Live. And therefore, by being present in the meeting, it means that you're okay with that. In case that would make you feel uncomfortable, you can either drop out, which I hope you will not, or you can switch off your camera in case you would not feel that you would like to be seen somewhere. Okay, now let me give you a little bit hints about the netiquette. Anna was already showing that on the presentation before the start of the meeting, but let me remind quickly. If you're not that familiar with Zoom, I suggest you use the gallery view, and you can find the gallery view in the Zoom window. If you hover your mouse over your Zoom window, and on the top right corner, you have a choice to switch either speaker view or gallery view. Now, gallery view gives you a list of squares with different people with different cameras. I suggest you use that one for this meeting to get the full meeting experience. Also, if you are Toastmaster, please make sure you have TM in front of your name. If you're a guest, you can put a VIP in front of your name in Zoom, because, well, this meeting is here mainly for you, so that you get an idea what is it that we are doing in online Toastmasters meetings. The meeting is going to last about 1 hour and 20 minutes, maybe a little bit less. And we're going to go through the usual Toastmasters meeting agenda. Our Toastmaster is going to introduce you to that just in a minute. I would also like to say that this group, or this online open house, is organized by a group of people who represent District 110. Toastmasters all over the world are organized in different groups. Ours is District 110, and it consists out of the following 7 countries: Croatia, Czech Republic, Hungary, Moldova, Romania, Slovakia, and Ukraine. However, if you're not from any of those countries, that's completely fine, because in the chat, one of my colleagues is going to soon share a link to a form when we ask you to write us a little bit about yourself, including the country and city where you're from. We will make sure that after that, we'll be able to put you in touch with the right person, and so that will help you find a Toastmaster club near you in case you would be interested. And also, we will need you to fill out this form to allow you to play in the little game that Jenny has prepared for you for a little bit later in the meeting. Right now, we have a very special guest with us in this meeting, and that's our regional advisor. Regional advisor, it's like a consultant for all those master teams all across Europe. And it's also a gentleman who's quite a broad experience in business with volunteering, and has quite a successful career overall, as well as in Toastmasters. He is going to share a couple of words for the opening. With that, help me welcome to the screen our regional advisor, Jaap Russchenberg.
Good evening. For some of you, this evening is the first experience with Toastmasters. If we go back to my first discovery with Toastmasters, that was 17 years ago. My wife came home and she told me that she wanted to start a Toastmasters club. And my first reaction was, what? I had no idea what Toastmasters was. Then she told me that it was a club in public speaking. And what I experienced in my time as member of this organization are 3 important points. I learned a lot, I listened a lot, and I laughed a lot. And this evening gives you a taste of how Toastmaster works and what it can do for you. And I hope that after this demo meeting, you'll be inspired to visit the club. And when you join this organization, you have the opportunity to learn, to listen, and to laugh a lot. Mr. Toastmaster?
Thank you, Jaap. For those of you who are not sure why everybody is waving their hands on the screens, it's one more thing that we tend to do because sometimes people get a little bit nervous or anxious before speaking. So we really put big emphasis on the encouragement. And in the normal world, with clapping. In the online world, it's not exactly the same. So what we practice here is the silent applause, which looks exactly what you've just seen before. So if you've never tried it before, give it a try. It's going to be something new. What I can tell you for the speaker, it looks pretty cool on the screen to see, let's see, of waving hands. With that, I'm done with my word for the opening, and I will pass the word for the gentleman who is going to lead us through the whole meeting. He is a guy who's quite active in terms of public speaking. He has a coaching practice, and he also even won a couple of public speaking contests. So I think he is the right MC for an event like this. All the way from Budapest, Hungary, help me welcome Alex MacIntosh.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Lukas, for that great introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, I am excited to be your guide for the next 90 minutes. Today, you will get a look, and not just a look, an inside look into a Toastmasters meeting, and you may even get a taste of what it means to be a Toastmaster. But first, why Toastmasters? Well, Toastmasters is practice for the real world in two respects. First is speaking to one another, and the second is working together. Two things most of us do at home and at work, but we don't usually get a chance to practice. What makes Toastmasters so great is that not only do we get to practice, but we also get feedback. And those two things together over time create skill development, increased confidence, and overall just getting better. For me personally, over the past 5 years, Toastmasters has done so much for my personal networking as well as my social life. If you would like to participate later on. Okay, I am done telling. Now let me show you what a Toastmasters meeting is all about. Okay, stand up for this one. Toastmasters is very much like an orchestra. There are 4 parts to an orchestra. There's the strings, the brass, the woodwind, and the percussion. Toastmasters also has 4 pieces. They all work together, just like an orchestra. But we don't have strings, we have speeches. And we don't have brass, we have evaluations. We don't have the woodwinds, we have improvised speeches. And finally, we have facilitation. Now, just like in an orchestra, all of these pieces work together to create an entertaining learning environment. And we are going to see each of those today. Today, we're going to see 2 speeches, 1 evaluation, several improvised speeches, and facilitation. This is what I'm doing right now, and you're going to hear from the facilitators as the meeting progresses. To give you some more information about what we're going to do today, the speeches, these speakers, they have days to prepare. Evaluations, just minutes to prepare. Improv, of course, not much time at all, just seconds before they get on stage. And the facilitators like me, we have all the time in the world to prepare. When it comes to the timings, the speeches, 5 to 7 minutes. Evaluations, 2 to 3 minutes. Improv, 1 to, oh, I knew that was going to happen. 1 to 2 minutes. And the facilitators, D, for depends, because we don't know. Depends on the role that they're taking. I'd like to introduce you to one of my facilitators, our first facilitator. His name is Dan. He's a big part of Toastmasters in Romania, and he joined Toastmasters in order to find his voice. And after 6 years, not only did he find his voice, he found his love and his new job. And perhaps you can see Dan in the audience. He's the guy who's changing his backgrounds from red to yellow to green. I'm not in gallery mode, but can you see these colors changing? You should. And that should be Dan showing the speakers the signs. Green means go. If you're a speaker and you see the green background, that means that you've reached the minimum requirement and you can keep going. The yellow means that your time is coming to an end soon and you should start to wrap it up. And finally, the red means that your time is finished, but you still have 30 seconds before you must stop. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for your first speaker? Give me a thumbs up if you're ready for that first speaker. All right, I see some thumbs up. Your first speaker, his name is Balazs. He's from Hungary. He's a father of 3. And he tells me that he's an enthusiastic but slow runner. And he's going to share with you his life in the first speech of the Toastmasters journey, which is called the Icebreaker. It's 4 to 6 minutes long. And it's the first speech that every Toastmaster gives. Please put your hands together for Balazs.
Thank you, Alex. Hi, everyone. Let me introduce myself, hoping we will meet again in this community. I like and I'm not afraid to speak about any topic but myself. And anyway, I think a picture speaks 1,000 words. So nowadays, there is one picture occupies my mind recently, and this is that. Can you guess what it is? Does it help if I say it has 74 columns and 52 rows? Actually, that's my life. I lived, according to this chart, 2,261 weeks. It occupies 43 columns and a little bit more. And based on the statistics, a male Hungarian lives until 74, which means I have 1,587 weeks until I die. So this occupies my mind, and this is like a little bit the proverbial glass. The glass is half full and half empty. A little bit about the numbers. I born in Vác, and I lived there for 20 years, which calculates 1,040 weeks. And then I met a beautiful lady. Actually, she is there. This picture is about her. This is my wife, Christina. I met her more than 20 years ago. I met her 1,248 weeks ago, and I have a happy marriage. I work more than 20 years now. I can say I'm a seasoned project manager, said to be good leader, a fair leader, and I'm also a father of 3, as Alex introduced me. I have 3 children. The oldest is 17 years old, 17 years and half years old, which calculates exactly 903 weeks since I am dead. thanks to Clara, and I have 3 children. The oldest is Clara. Then I have a boy, Matthias, and the smallest children is Sophia. And as Alex introduced me, I've run the first marathon 10 years ago. 520 weeks ago, I completed my first marathon. And if you scroll my Facebook feed, you will see I'm an enthusiastic runner, but I have to tell I'm pretty slow. I'm very proud of the fact that I have 6 finishing medals from the Budapest Marathon, and I have 4, interestingly, from the US Air Force Marathon. I'm very proud about that one. It's in Dayton, Ohio, and I have the chance to run there and finish it 4 times. They give a huge medal. I like it a lot. And I have several others from Belgrade, from Zagreb, from Košice, from Skopje, and Podgorica. I like them a lot. And I like running because I run for fun and I run for the community. And this is why I joined Toastmaster as well. I'm a Toastmaster since 4.5 years now. And if you calculate, it's 234 weeks. What a nice number, 2, 3, 4, I like it. And this is the actual number, I double checked it, by the way. So I'm an engineer. I'm a project manager. I'm a 6 Sigma black belt, and I'm also a leader of this community. So you feel and see I'm obsessed with numbers. So this is why I brought you numbers. But how do I feel about it? I have to say, unfortunately, so. Again, this proverbial glass is half full and half empty. Hearing only this, you would say, oh, wow, these guys did it all. In the military, they would say, oh, these guys were decorated with medals. But actually, I know the lost opportunities. I know what I was ups and downs with the experience. So that represented in my first chart the O's, but by the X's, I'm not happy about. I want to do more. Basically, preparing for this introduction, I concluded a few things what I would like to summarize now. First of all, I don't regret anything. However, I have this so-so feeling about my career in halfway down, but I did the account of all the positive and all good intention with the best information I have or had at that time. So I don't regret anything. But if you are not satisfied, then what you can do, you can learn about these things and you can do things differently. So this is an opportunity. Second, I'm not satisfied. And actually, I'm pretty much happy about my unhappiness in this regard, because I think the dissatisfaction and curiosity that drives us to achieve more, to change things around and do it better next time. And third, we have lots of opportunity. I mentioned I have at least 1,587 weeks until I get to the statistical life expectancy. If I'm lucky, maybe I have more than 2,000. I'm a runner. I'm a healthy guy, young guy. Of course, I can live even more. So I have a lot of opportunity to turn around things. And if I don't have 2,000 weeks, I don't have 1,500 weeks. Those are all opportunities to make things better. And this introduction led me to make this account and summary it somehow into those 3 things and helped me to understand how I would like to see my life in the upcoming days. Again, don't regret anything. There are things you can regret and big mistakes you can and have to regret, but I think the small ones, step away and learn about it and do things differently, and you have a lot of opportunity. Second, be curious, don't be satisfied, don't lie down. You have to be active. Whatever you did in the past, and maybe you have all the success in the past, who cares in the future? In the future, what matters, what value you give to the opportunity, what value you bring to your organization, what value to bring. And the third one, the opportunities are there. You have the opportunity to move things around. You have to act, and the O's must win. The opportunity always win, like in this tic-tac-toe. Thank you very much, and I hand back the words to Mr. Toastmaster Alex.
Thank you very much, Balazs. That was a very interesting speech. I had no idea you'd run so many marathons. You know, one thing about hobbies is usually, you know, hobbies you need equipment. And when I was in Taekwondo, we had our uniform and the belt and the protective pads. There was so much gear. And then when I started to play guitar, of course, you start with a cheap guitar and then you get a more and more expensive guitar. But with Toastmasters, the gear that you need is beautiful. The only thing you need really is a pen. Something I love a lot about Toastmasters. Balazs, to give you some introspection about that speech. That was a speech. Next, we're going to see an evaluation, which is where another Toastmaster gives positive and constructive feedback to the speaker so that they can grow in their public speaking journey. And let's do that right now. Our evaluator is an American who lives in the heart of Romania in a place called Brașov. He's been a Toastmaster for over 7 years, and his name is William Anderson. Please welcome him to the virtual stage.
Thank you, Alex. Fellow Toastmasters, dear guest, and dearest Balazs. Thank you for sharing your story of your life. I know so much more about you now, and I know the kind of person you are and how you want to go forwards and really make the best of life. In my evaluation, I'm going to look at your content, then I'll look at the delivery, and a little bit on the screen presence, so I can share a little bit about that. And on these things, I will share with you what I thought were your strengths, what things I think you should focus on going forwards, and maybe a few suggestions to go with those. Right? Now, as far as your content strengths, what I liked, it was easy to follow. You shared details, but yet in a way that was easy to understand. And you broke it up well with different structures and different parts of your life. Now, the one thing on the content I would do different myself would be how you introduced yourself at the beginning. You said, hey, I'm going to introduce myself. No, I would start with some kind of statement right away. Like, you know what? I'm happy, but I'm unhappy. And just do that to draw us in, okay? Don't say, hey, I'm going to introduce myself. No, start with something and just punch in right away with it. Right? Now, with your delivery, you had smiles from the beginning, you had good eye contact, and all your technical stuff. You had good spacing, framing for your body, you had a good audio, and good lighting. So everything was good that way. What I would encourage you to work on is, on your delivery, is more vocal variety, more emotion. Like when you're talking about your kids or something, and show that you're excited about it, you know, have some more expressions in your face and in your voice when you do that. So get more vocal variety. Also, I thought you could use pauses more at certain times, especially when you're after you talk about an idea and going to move on to something else, have a little bit longer pauses. And even though no one could see your hands very much, at times you were just talking with your hands. And what you don't want to do that. What you want to do is have purposeful gestures so that they help accentuate what you're talking about. Also, you tend to just shift your weight. You were rocking back and forth, taking a step here and there. And I would tell you that that's not the best thing to do. I just plant your feet, bend your knees just a little bit so you don't rock, and stand firm in that place. So I want to encourage you. You know, you did a good job. You really share what your life. You help us to see who you are. You're good with your structure. You have all the interesting things to share. But going forwards, work on your opening and try to get solid in your position and don't move so much. And if you do these things, you're well on your way to really helping to engage your audience even more. And so, Balazs, what I want to do is wish you all the best in the 1,587 weeks that you have left, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thanks so much, William, for that introspective evaluation. You know, he only had a few minutes to come up with all of that. It's magical. I loved it. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was an evaluation of a beginner speech. And now what we're going to do is take a look at an advanced speech. And our speaker for the advanced speech is an astronomer. He's a teacher and an organizer of science events, as well as enthusiastic astronomy, dragons, wizards, sometimes all of those at the same time. Please help me welcome our next speaker, Bogdan.
What do you think about when you look at the stars? When you're lying on soft grass on a warm night? Or simply when you're going home from work and decide to look up? What goes through your mind then? Do you ask yourself the deep questions like, what is the meaning of life? Are we alone in the universe? Do aliens have their own Toastmasters club? Fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests online, I often find myself thinking about these things. As Alex said, I'm an astronomer. I look at stars. And even before my student days, I liked to think about the universe and our place within it. And one time, looking at the night sky, I've come to a realization that changed my entire outlook on life. And it is this perspective that I gained, which nowadays, with all that's happening in the world, feels more real than ever, that I want to pass on to you today. We used to think that the Earth was the center of the universe, that everything was for us. Everything was just rotating around us. But then came astronomers and said, actually, it is the Earth rotating around the sun, and the sun is just one of hundreds of billions of stars in this galaxy. Furthermore, our galaxy is just one of 2 trillion other galaxies in the universe. Now that was a big cosmic punch to our egos, don't you think? Do you understand that number? 2 trillion galaxies, each with hundreds of billions or trillions of stars of their own? Can you imagine how large the universe is? How many stars there could be? How many planets around them? How many possible forms of life? Now, no extraterrestrial life has been found yet, but here's the sad part. Even if we did find them, even if they're intelligent and they gave us their WhatsApp number, the universe is so large, they'll be so far away. Among the best case scenarios, it would take thousands of years to send them a message and thousands of years to receive a reply. It would feel just like Tinder. Not to mention traveling to them, which would take millions of years. And I look around the world today And I get a little worried. We don't think about that. We tend to grow complacent. We behave recklessly with nature as if nothing could hurt us, as if somebody would come save us if things go bad. No, nobody's coming to save us. We must not let things go bad. There are no second tries. The universe is already filled with stuff that wants to kill us. Filled. If on top of that we add wars, pollution, deforestation, public health issues, if we blow this one chance we have in any way, it's over. Nobody's coming to our rescue. So who can we count on then? I would like you to just take a moment and think about the people on the bus. Think about those relatives you always get into fights with when you talk about politics. About people in the supermarket. Our colleagues at work. Think about the people in this very meeting right now. And if you can, realize that is all we have, the other people. Because regardless of our conflicts, regardless of our lines in the sand that we call borders and viruses care nothing about, regardless of our race, religion, or sexual orientation, all we will ever have in this cold, dark universe is each other. Because for all practical purposes, we are all alone, but we have each other. Humanity, civilization, is like a small fire on a desert island that humans have built to protect themselves from the dangers of the night. But if we give in to selfishness, greed, ignorance, we will soon find that fire extinguished and the dangers pouring in. But on the other hand, if we act as buddies, if we stare into the darkness together, if we work side by side, if we love and protect each other, we can do more than just survive. We can build an awesome world that is safe and meaningful for everyone. Whether or not aliens have their own Toastmasters club, next time we look at the stars, let's let them remind us to be kinder to everyone. Because we're all we've got. To be more involved in our communities, more focused on the things that matter, and more considerate to other people, even if they're strangers. Now, during these trying days, even more so. We humans are not perfect, but that's okay. We are not the center of the universe either, but we moved on past that. We may be all alone in the darkness, but we're alone together. And we'll have each other's backs, won't we? Alex.
Thank you very much, Bogdan, for that great speech. I'm still thinking about the people on the bus. Excellent. I love that. Ladies and gentlemen, before we move on, I'd like to remind you that we need you to participate in this meeting. And you can do that by filling out the form. It's in the chat, and you simply need to copy it and paste it and fill it out, and then you can get a taste of what it's like to be a Toastmaster. Now, we just had that advanced speech by Bogdan. Now it's time for an evaluation. But we don't have an evaluator for Bogdan. We have many. It's you, the audience. And we have a facilitator for this section. Her name is Anna. She's an introvert that sometimes acts as an extrovert. She loves to step out of her comfort zone. She likes to laugh a lot, write in her blog, and wear crazy colors. Please help me welcome Anna to the stage.
Thank you, Alex. I hope everybody is ready to share some evaluation with Bogdan. And here are some tips and tricks and how you can give feedback to Bogdan, because this is your time to share what you liked about his speech. Remember, it's very important to praise people, to know what they did good and how they reach with their stories to you. Also, suggest something that can be improved. We are here to become better speakers. But also, if there's something that you think it can be improved, show us how or tell us how in order to see it by example. What do you take after his speech? What stays with you after tonight? But most important, because time is the essence and it's a great thing to have, be on point and be short. And remember that we are here to become better speakers. And now, let me get to you. And is there any volunteer who would like to evaluate the speech of Bogdan? Or should I point volunteers? Okay, I will point some volunteers. Alina, would you like to share some of your info on Bogdan's speech? I know Bogdan is very eager to find your opinion.
Hi, sure. Okay, so you probably know that I'm not a Toastmaster. I already started with which is, but yeah, I really liked the way he got to us with the words, the way he described everything. It was, to me, it was a very emotional speech. I liked the analogies he made, the examples he gave, and how he actually told us a little bit about the universe on our own language, like on the common language. His expressions, facial expressions, and also his gestures, how he was in contact with us and he made sure we got all the information. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Thank you. And I will go now with Tola. Could you hear me? Can you offer some feedback? Can you unmute yourself?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Tola, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry, I was on mute.
No worries.
Yeah, I kind of like his introduction. His introduction was really good. Throughout the presentation, his body language kind of matches what he was saying, which kind of carries me along, which was really, really good. So I would say it was a good presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Tola. Eliana, would you like to share your opinion about Bogdan's speech? Kalin, could you help me if Eliana cannot unmute herself? If not, okay. I will go to Alexandru Grigore. Would you like to share your feedback on Bogdan's speech?
Sure. Do you hear me well?
Yes, perfect.
I really liked the way he moved in front of the camera. It's a very nice skill to have in such presentation. I really liked the journey that he took me with him in the center of the universe and brought me back to my desk chair. And to be honest, right now I don't have any suggestion for him. He was amazing.
Thank you, Alexandru. And I will go with another person, and I will go to Oleg. Would you like to share? Oleg, okay. Then, Chris.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I loved a lot the posture. It's very nice. It's very confident. Made me deep quite from the beginning into the speech actually, because it felt interesting, and actually the whole speech was quite interesting, as the journey mentioned before, and it made me think about the power of the mankind, the power of a person, and the way how small we can be actually when he talked about the universe and not about the man has the power on the earth. So it was like a very nice story to bring you science, bring you knowledge, but also make you think about what we are here, and make us think about the metaphor of this speech as itself. The voice was very pleasant. The voice was really interesting. I don't know, as a feedback to improve. Not sure what should I say, because I really enjoyed it.
Okay, thank you, Christina. Edith, would you like to share your feedback with us on Bogdan's speech? I think you can unmute yourself.
Yes, I just
perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, it is cool and great. Actually, it is my first experience in a Toastmaster club, so thank you for the invite and letting me in, as I earlier said. And the idea I liked the most, that how this special hobby or teaching can be connected with our everyday life and how. So I really love the context and the idea that how he introduced this thing. So this is on a positive side, and just at the first moment on the improvement side, that how he, but maybe it is just because of the interior, how he placed the camera, because I thought honestly, and I was waiting all the time, what will happen with the purple curtain? So will be with something that is just on wheel or sharing something, but maybe that slight small thing which can be somehow changed or modified. But that's it from my end. I enjoyed.
Thank you so much for your words, Edith. Bogdan, do you think you got enough?
With these generous words and with all these kind thoughts, I can never get enough. But yes, I think we can. I think I learned a lot from what you said. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your kindness and for your suggestions. And thank you, after all, for helping me become a better speaker.
Okay, so I will take 1 minute more, and I will get you some recommendation, because you cannot go home only with all these amazing gifts that our guest provided to you. And I will give you one recommendation and one challenge for you for the future speeches. My first recommendation is make sure that you are staying in the camera, because at some points you are very close and we cannot see your forehead, and at some points we could not see your hands. And my challenge for you for the future speeches is bring some things within. Maybe use the curtain, or maybe show us Earth or another planet so we can visualize it. Because from your speeches now, I can tell you for sure, if I was a fan of the universe, now I'm a huge fan. So thank you for sharing your speech with us and your words, and good luck in your future projects. And that was my role for tonight, and I will get back the stage to Alex.
Thank you very much, Anna, for that very, not just eye-opening experience, but now we're actually, it actually feels like a group effort because we're involving the audience, and it's great. And actually, I'd like to agree. I think it was Edith who said she was wondering what was going to happen with the purple curtain, and I too was expecting perhaps him to go behind the purple curtain. So yes, she's not alone there. So what you just saw was an open evaluation from the audience. We are finished now with our speeches and evaluations. And what's coming up next is perhaps the most exciting part of any Toastmasters meeting. And it's the improvised speech part. This is the reason why it's often considered the most exciting part, is because there's not a lot of preparation time, only seconds before you need to start speaking. And that means anything can happen. To introduce this section, we have Jenny Haka. She's an engineer of IT systems. She has a strong passion for public speaking and organizing network events. Please put your hands together and welcome to the virtual stage, Jenny Haka.
Thank you, Alex. Welcome, everyone. You heard my voice in the beginning, and as Alex said, there are situations, many situations in life where you are just given the words to speak, but you have no preparation. So how can you make the most of those minutes? You're given a chance to express an opinion. It could be in a bar with friends or with colleagues, with people you don't barely know, and there's a topic going around and someone tells you, hey, what do you think about this? And you're unprepared. Will you say just, yes, I agree? It can be in a meeting with colleagues and some technical issues happening. You want to fill that awkward silence. If you are comfortable with making a few minutes improvised speech that we practice here at Toastmasters, the situations where this can come to better to your benefit in the future are countless. Let's say you're in a wedding and you don't know anyone, but you want to make an opener with a person next to you because they got your attention. Bam, you can come up with a few minutes topic there. So one strategy that, there are many strategies for this, but one that I would suggest myself is to talk for one topic and say, before, when I was a child, some years ago, I had this experience. Now this thing has done this effect to me, and in the future, I hope it's going to be this way. So past, present, future. Or if you really want to argument why you like one thing so much, you can say, hey, there are 3 reasons why I like this, 1 and 2 and 3, and then end up, why don't you give it a try too? So you make this transition very smooth. Now, for you to practice today, I had the question in the beginning for people who filled the form. The question was, what activities make you lose track of time? So these activities you enjoy so much that you don't realize how much time has passed. And now I would like to know a little bit more. Why are these activities so enjoyable to you? How do you feel? When was the first time you practiced that? So please let us know a little bit more on that. Any volunteers? No one? Okay. Well, I had a very interesting answer here in the questions, and this was from Anna Stefan. Anna, can you unmute yourself? Anna said that she recently learned how to crochet, and that makes her lose sense of time. Tell us something more about it, Anna.
This is an activity I never thought I would take on because I am so easily bored. I have no idea if it is something characteristic for the Aries zodiac sign, but I get easily bored and I lose my attention, and it is really a pity. Yet I picked up crochet about a month ago, and I have made this cute kitty, and it has become my pet during quarantine. And then I thought, this is interesting. I'm interested. I'm spending so much time doing this and perfecting this and choosing the colors and stuffing it. And I need more of this, actually. I need something serious. So I made myself a bag. This is actually finished. I finished it a couple of days ago. It is sort of a camera bag. It's a vintage camera that took me a week to complete. And now I think I have settled down with this crochet. I don't know how to call it. Insanity maybe would be a great word for it. I have settled down to small animals. I made this little guy a few days ago. He's an octopus. And I am planning to start doing some homework because this is what I was supposed to be doing actually. But I would love to keep on crocheting in my free time, which is definitely not now, but thank you.
Thank you, Anna. That was very interesting for sharing your journey with crocheting, which makes you lose track of time now. Anyone else would like to share their hobbies? And why do they make lose track of time? Anyone? You can unmute yourself. Katalin, I see. You raised your hand. Yes.
Yeah, why not? Let me just pin my timer for a second. Oh, I can't do that, huh? Right. Well, I didn't write a couple of hobbies on that list, on that form, but I think I'm going to go back on them and move to one of those that started a long, long, long time ago in like middle school, I think. When I started folding paper, started doing origami left and right. I know I've used the same excuse in the recent table topics, but it is one of those activities that doesn't actually work unless you lose yourself in time with it. Like the moment you start making little small animals and folding them left and right for little projects, which can take from minutes to several hours, you have to lose yourself into a very, very, very small, weird activity. Taking a piece of paper and folding it, trying to understand what the person gave you as instructions or what the manuals or diagrams go for. There's many ways to do this. You can do it with regular paper, you can go buy crafts, or you can use some really weird esoteric techniques like wet folding, where you go and grab the paper to stand with it. But it's just a really good break. So from whatever small, weird, from whatever day-to-day activities go into your work, where you have to answer emails, talk, think about things, the second you move into a longer, very clear, simple, and focused activity, you get the chance to spend a lot of time just practicing and getting better. Like we do with speeches, I sometimes just do it with paper.
That's a very nice suggestion, how to make something fun while everything else is passing by. Who wants to share something next? I would like, maybe Edith, do you want to share something? You said that you don't feel the time when you're volunteering or listening to music. Anything, if you can add more to it, we're curious to hear.
Well, I'm addressed a second time this evening. For the first time reading, my suggestions may to be boring or too everyday, reading, traveling, or volunteering. But these three activities can be really time-consuming or losing you in details when you really want to do it as a perfect thing. For example, just volunteering or doing good. If you hooked on some initiative or some good cause, then you really want to help others. You want better and see the results, and that can be even a lifelong activity. And that is the reason why I think it was the third one, the volunteering and making things better.
All right, thank you very much. It's true, like I agree. When you find passion into something, you want to make sure everything is great. Thank you, Edith. We have time for one more. Who wants to share his hobby, and maybe we have things in common?
Can I speak?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Antonio from Portugal. I'm a little different. Since young, my dream was to be have adrenaline sports. So when 20 years ago I was dead in the hospital, and suddenly I beginning to think that the life is not for the others. Also a little bit to realize my dreams. So after that, I think I made what is possible to do: karting, skydiving, scuba dive, and realized my dream. Unfortunately, because I have a problem at that time when I was young by the speech. I said, blah, 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 so difficult to speak. And my dream was to be a fighter pilot. So I beginning to, when it's possible in terms of financial way, I flight acrobatic airplanes. So it's an experience, very interesting experience. I advise for everybody to try to do at least once. It's very funny, and of course traveling and reading, mountain bike. Something strange for people is orientation with a compass and have a map and try to go to a certain point with some calculations. So always put the mind in the activity and bring the blood to the brain to activate it. I am a risk taker, so I do what is possible to do until I have the age to do that. I advise you that, please, when we have 60s and 70s, or if you are with a big health problem, don't put in mind that, oh my God, when I was young, I have this opportunity to do that, and I didn't do that. So use all of the opportunities you have with healthy and financial, and do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Antonio. Very inspiring indeed. And yeah, I might join you in not getting lost. I get lost with Google Maps. So I appreciate that you go and then you find your way with a good old compass. Our timer tells me we have time for one more, and I would like to hear from Alina Pio. She shared that she loses track of time when she's singing. Alina, can you hear us? Can you unmute yourself?
Yes, I can. I was thinking, okay, that's the last one. Yay!
Tell us something more. How does singing do this for you, losing track of time?
Well, I've been singing since I was a little girl, and I've actually started taking lessons last year, and I started to discover more about the powers of my voice and what sustains them, like the air that I'm breathing, the diaphragm, even the position of my body and my neck and everything. So ever since I started to learn more, I've been trying to sing in different tones, different songs. And basically when I sing, it just time flies by. And I mean, for me, probably not for my neighbors who can hear me. And sometimes when I try to reach high notes, they don't quite like it because I don't always manage to do that. But yeah, I guess I like to sing. I like what I hear most of the time that's coming out of my mouth. I don't like to hear myself after because I can hear the flaws. So I just, when I record myself, it's pretty hard to actually listen. But I like to practice a lot and see how I evolve and I make progress. And I guess that's why mostly I just don't feel time passing, because I try again and I try again and I sing and I feel that this time what I hear is better and better and so on. So I recommend people to sing if they like to do this, even if they think they can't, because from my teacher, who is actually an authorized professor of complete vocal technique, that technique says that everybody in the world can sing if they have the right teacher. So if you've been told something different, just know that it's not true and you can actually sing.
Wow. Thank you, Alina.
Thank you.
We could hear from your voice. We couldn't see your face, your camera was off, but from your voice you have such a nice melodic voice, and it was pleasant to hear. We will try maybe our voices at some point. And we have one more person who contacted me in chat, really wants to share their activity. Andruta Ilie, can you unmute yourself? Let's hear one more hobby. Yes, continue, please.
Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here with you tonight. When the answer that I actually put in the form was reading, because that's an activity that I used to immerse myself for endless hours ever since I was a child. But then I realized that today I have spent almost 5 or 6 hours with a puzzle. And when I was a child, I didn't used to play puzzles. It's very strange because I was in London in March, and I went into a store and I got this beautiful puzzle right here, The World of Shakespeare. And I was amazed by the illustrations and the storytelling that it has in the puzzle. It has King Lear, it has scenes of Romeo and Juliet, it has Othello, so a lot of good stories from Shakespeare. And what I did realize is that when doing a puzzle, there is so much to learn. It activates your memory, it helps you to identify patterns, and I think the biggest lesson of them all is, so for example, when you have a piece and you try to fit it like next to the other one, but then it doesn't work, you have to switch it around and you have to turn it around and upside down until it works, or perhaps it might not be there, it might be different else. So I think that it's so one of the benefits, it really puts things in perspective and it gives you an idea of how to build a bigger picture. And that's a skill that we can use even with a speech. Sometimes we have to think in perspective, we have to think of the bigger picture of the message that we want to put out there, and of course in our professional lives. So I have finished my 1,000 piece The World of Shakespeare, and now I'm on a 1,000 piece puzzle, and I'm very excited, and yeah, I wanted to share this with you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Andruta. Well, thanks everyone for joining and for sharing activities that make lose track of time. We had volunteering, crocheting, adrenaline sports, singing, and figuring out puzzles. I really enjoyed hearing all of them, and I hope you practiced. You will feel more confident to have improvised speech in your next talks with friends or colleagues. Back the word to Alex.
Thanks so much, Jenny. for that great session. I think if we combine the crocheting with the extreme sport, I think we have a new Red Bull event. Maybe that will be coming up later on this year. I should sell them that idea. I'll give you credit, don't worry. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've just experienced the improv event. And unfortunately, this is going to be the last part of the meeting that we had planned for you. You've seen everything that we do in a Toastmasters meeting. You've seen some speeches, you've seen some evaluation, you've given some evaluations, and you've done some improvised speeches, and you've seen us facilitate our way through the meeting. But the meeting's not over just yet, because we would like to get some feedback from you. And the first question I have for the audience is, did we live up to your expectations? Tell us what you thought of this meeting simply by raising your hand or unmuting yourself and saying something, saying hello. Tell us what your expectations were of this meeting. And did we meet those expectations? I would like to open it to the floor.
My name is Andre. I was invited to this meeting, but I didn't have a lot of expectations, but I really liked it.
And what did you like in particular, sir?
First of all, the first speech that I heard, it was about the universe. It was really inspiring in some way, thinking about the greatness of the universe, and in some way I'm not saying that the life is meaningless, but if we put it in a report with the universe, it might look like. So it was in some way in perspective.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your feedback. And the thing I like a lot about these meetings is that now that we're online, it's a whole new universe of Zoom. So we're doing things for the first time, like this type of thing, and speaking in front of our device and trying to keep our energy up. And these are new things, even for us Toastmasters. So it's kind of like leveled the playing field in so many ways, these online meetings. I would like to hear from someone else in the audience. Tell us, did we live up to your expectations, and what was your favorite part?
May I?
Hi, Tina.
Hi, my name is Tina. I'm joining from Kyrgyzstan, Bishkek. This is not Europe, unfortunately. So I'm very glad to see you, and thanks to Lukas who invited to this meeting. And I like it, especially your part, how you did this infographics on the board. And
thank you.
How you facilitated the meeting. And I also like it, we never experienced that several evaluators can evaluate one speech. That's which I like it the most. I also want to pass this thing to my members and say we can, several evaluators can say their opinions about one speech. That was for me one finding today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to hear from one more audience member. Tell us what you thought. Tola? Sorry?
Hello.
What is it?
Can everybody hear me?
Oh, hi, yes.
Hi, so I am Tola's wife, and I've been listening. So initially when I heard that the meeting was going to run for 90 minutes, I'm like, wow, a whole 90 minutes. But I've been here listening from the beginning to the end. It was really, really very engaging. I enjoyed, the whole sessions. And it's a platform that definitely supports growth. I really, really love it. And I'm looking forward to joining or participating in the future. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Tola. It sounds like you have a future Toastmaster also with you in the room. few years down the road.
Our little baby is here.
It's getting an early start in the Toastmasters journey. Just love to see that. We do. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your feedback. Now, I would like to open it up to questions to see what what's on your mind, what are you curious about, and what can we tell you more about Toastmasters? You can throw these questions into the chat if you would like. Or you can simply unmute yourself and ask away.
Alex, this is Lucas. Maybe before the audience has a chance to type their questions, I would like to ask, like the one that I get very often, is in your opinion or somebody else's opinion, what is the importance, or is it even important to practice presentations when you're just sitting in front of your computer? Does it even make sense?
And I'm going to pass this question to a capable Toastmaster.
I can answer. Can I answer?
Yes, please.
Now, what I feel, I think that this Corona situation advanced in our minds new ways to handle these situations. Everybody knows that at the moment, Zoom and our other online tools are important for our daily life in these days. But what's happened, the truth is that maybe this is the new way or the new wave that the companies, our boss, our chiefs, our presidents from where we work, beginning to think that it's more cheaper to have the people working at home than the office for several reasons. And what's happened is that for us Toastmasters, beginning to train in these online sessions on online subjects, whatever, because we can, as we Toastmasters, we can do more things than make a normal session. The truth is that exist many Toastmasters who never work with technology, who never work with this kind of environment. So we are helping these Toastmasters who never have that opportunity to speak in front of a computer, because one thing is when I'm look to everybody here, and one thing is when I'm looking for 3mm camera, I'm looking for everybody. And when we are speaking with a customer, with a supplier, with our boss, we must training to speak for the 3mm webcam. And this is not so easy. And maybe this is the future. And we have the opportunity to practice in all of these kind of events that Toastmasters create. Always I said that pathways, so our training education program, is the best way for learning leadership and communication in the same way we do in our companies, in a professional point of view. So making presentations, not in a normal PowerPoint, in this case, is very useful. We have here a power tool, and you must use that. You must practice using that tools. We can make here all of the mistakes, because when we are going to our professional life, we must do very, very, very well. So, and maybe we have a power tool for someone suddenly have no job, maybe have the opportunity to learn how to sell the services that we have and whatever for the world, for the potential customers. So I hope that I can answer to Lucas, and we must use these tools and enjoy. I spent almost 12 hours in Zoom meetings, okay? I think my head is like a square, okay? But the truth is that we have more hours working today than before. And so we must use all of these opportunities to make mistakes and have feedback, of course.
Thanks so much, Antonio, for answering that question. We still have time for a couple more questions. If anybody has a question in the audience, now is the time to ask it.
Can I ask one question? That's Elena. Actually, I'm second in Lucas. I'm wondering how to keep attention of the audience. For instance, if you have to provide a workshop or you have to speak for 7 to 10 minutes, you have anyone has any hints how to keep audience engaged, because they can just switch off to another application and not longer listening? Thank you.
May I?
Yes, please, Patrick, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm speaking as the president of Experience French, which is the bilingual club in London. We speak French and English, and I'm also a member of other clubs. I would say there are two things that will make people engaged. One that you demonstrated is the role of a Toastmaster of the evening. And the Toastmaster of the evening, for me, is the person who brings energy to the meeting. Most of the time, people will come to a meeting either first thing in the morning or after they work. So, you know, energy can be a bit low. A Toastmaster of the evening who has creativity, who is alive, who shows energy, will make a big difference. The second thing that makes a good meeting and keep people engaged, it's what they can get from it. And that, I think, is what you get from evaluations. So people are on their journey towards improving their public speaking. And so each person will be, you know, doing the best they can at the level they are at. The role of the evaluator is to show all the people who listen, the audience, what is possible. So it's really going beyond what's obvious and bringing some depth. Because I think visitors, when they come and they hear evaluators saying what's possible, that's what brings for them some interest, where they are inspired and say, oh, I'd like a bit of that. And I think that's what, it's the two things that for me are the most important things in engaging an audience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patrick. I definitely agree that the secret to keeping people engaged is to do something that they haven't really seen before. And that means getting creative, going the extra mile, more effort, more, you know, I tried with this stuff and I'm still learning with it. So it's something that we can never really stop doing. Ladies and gentlemen, we have time for one short question and one short answer before I pass it back to Lukas. I want to make sure we get lots of value in this session. So any quick question out there?
Yes, I can make a question. How in these days, when we have in the normal, before Corona, we are always waiting for our session at the end of the day, where we relax and we have funny, learning, feedbacks and so on. And the people goes happy to the session. And now, in these days, after 10 hours working at home, spend all of the time watching, see the laptop and the calls and calls and calls, I beginning to feel, and I've did these feedbacks, that the Toastmasters members sometimes don't go to the sessions because they are spend so many hours during the day and they don't have more time to 1 hour and a half or 2 hours to spend on a normal session, an online session. So how you can motivate that?
I would like to take the opportunity to answer that one. And I'm going to say two things. Number one, practice. And number two, coffee. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be part of this journey with you. Thank you for putting up with this stuff, and thank you for being here with me. I would now like to pass it back to our district director, Mr. Lukas.
Alex, thank you very much, and thanks everyone. Thanks to all team, the speakers, evaluators, and facilitators of the meeting. There's a couple of people that you haven't seen yet today, and these are our, we call them division representatives, because I said in the beginning our district consists of 7 countries. We have them split in 4 divisions. So we have one person representing Hungary and Croatia. It's Balazs. You've already saw him giving the speech today. We got one representative representing Ukraine and Slovakia. That's Lenka Trapkova. We have one person representing Czech Republic, that's Ilya Rabinovic, and we have one person representing Romania and Moldova, and that's Katalin Pavel. You can see all of them in the chat. If you're from one of those countries, feel free to drop them a chat message right away. And as I promised in the beginning, we will come back to you if you filled out the form in the beginning of the meeting. If you haven't, now is your last chance. And one more thing I wanted to say, this is the main thing about what you can do with Toastmasters is continuous practice. So what you get to do is, what you learn from is not just attending one meeting and giving one improvisation, but it's a combination of the educational materials that you can get at Toastmasters program provides to you and the regular practice. So hope this was useful to you. Feel free to get in touch with us. Now you know how to do it. And I wish you all the best. Enjoy the rest of the evening. And I guess I will see you soon somewhere online.